Hi guys, this is the video lesson part 2 for 11-2. In part 1 we learned how to add and subtract radicals together, and now in this part 2 we're going to learn how to multiply them together. Now we've already talked about multiplying them together when it's just one times another one, but now we're going to do some distributing and some FOIL. So let's get right into it. Here in number 10 you can see that this is a distributing problem. So you're going to take this 1 root 6 times 1 root 3, and you're going to get 1 root 18. And then you're going to take 1 root 6 times 5 root 2, and you're going to get 5 root 12. Now, just like in the last section, we do still need to reduce these radicals. So we're going to break down the square root of 18. 9 times 2. 9 is 3 times 3, so we have that pair of 3, so we have 3 root 2 for the square root of 18. And then over here with the square root of 12 we have 2 times 6. 6 is 2 times 3, so you bring a 2 out, but it gets multiplied with that 5, giving us 10 root 3. And now you do have to ask yourself, are these two things like terms that can be added together? But in this case, no, they're not, because the first one is a root 2 and the second one is a root 3, so they are not like terms to add together. So, like I said, this section should be very easy, all things that we really know how to do already. So, why don't you go ahead and try number 11, and then after unpausing the video, check my work to see if you've done it the same. Alright, so 3 root 3 times 2 root 6 is going to give us 6 root 18. 3 root 3 times 4 root 10 is 12 root 30. Root 18 we just did, we know that turns into 3 root 2, but we're going to multiply the 3 by the 6, so we're going to get 18 root 2. And then I've done the square root of 30, broken that down enough times to know that it's not going to be able to be simplified. So this just stays plus 12 root 30. And again, since those are not like terms, you're done. You cannot add them together. You're just done. Right. Number 12 is a FOIL problem, which actually you should remember this now from 11-1 also, because we did in 11-1 do conjugates, and this actually kind of looks like a conjugate, 3 plus root 5 and 3 minus root 5. Either way though, I'm going to just go ahead and FOIL it to make sure what I think happens will happen. So you're going to multiply 3 and 3 together, and get 9. 3 times negative 1 root 5 is negative 3 root 5. Positive 1 root 5 times 3 gives me positive 3 root 5. And then positive 1 root 5 times negative 1 root 5 gives me negative 1 root 25. Now, this problem will simplify. Right here in the middle, I have a negative 3 root 5 and a positive 3 root 5. That just becomes 0. So I have 9, and then the square root of 25 is 5, but that gets multiplied by the negative 1, so I have 9 minus 5, or just 4. So this problem simplified all the way down to just 4. Now 13, remember that if you are squaring a binomial, you need to write that binomial out twice. So I have 7 minus the square root of 10 times another 7 minus the square root of 10. Do not just square both pieces. You do need to FOIL this. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times negative root 10 is negative 7 root 10. Negative root 10 times 7, another negative 7 root 10. And again, remember this is a negative 1 root 10. So negative 1 times negative 1 makes this a positive 1 root 100. And now I simplify. 49 comes down, negative 7 root 10 minus 7 root 10 gives me negative 14 root 10. And square root of 100 is 10 times that positive 1 means it's still just 10. Well, now you can take these whole numbers and add them together. You got 49 plus 10, which is 59, minus 14 root 10. And again, 59 has no square root with it, so you cannot combine it with the negative 14 root 10. It's the same thing if it was 59 minus 14x. You can't combine those because one is an x term and one is just a number term. So those are not like terms. You cannot add them together. You're just done at 59 minus 14 root 10. Alright, so not too bad with the first 4. Why don't you go ahead and try the next one on your own. So here we go with number 14, again just more foiling. 5 root 2 times 2 root 10, 10 root 20, 5 root 2 times negative 3, negative 15 root 2, 3 root 5 times 2 root 10, 6 root 50, and 3 root 5 times negative 3 is negative 9 root 5. Now, we're going to simplify anything that we can simplify. So right here with square root of 20, 2 times 10, 2 times 5. So this is going to turn into 2 root 5, but again, don't forget about that 10 that was already out there. So 10 times 2 root 5 is 20 root 5. The next term, this negative 15 root 2 cannot be simplified, so we have just negative 15 root 2 next. Square root of 50, though, I believe that can be simplified. That's going to be 25 and 2. 25 is 5 and 5. So we're going to have 5 root 2, but again, don't forget about this 6 that was out in the front. So 6 times 5 gives me 30 root 2. And then the last term, negative 9 root 5, cannot be simplified. So I just bring it down. Okay, now you can look for like terms, which I have a few here. The negative 20 root 5, or I'm sorry, the positive 20 root 5 minus 9 root 5 is how I get 11 root 5. And then the negative 15 root 2 plus 30 root 2 gives me a positive 15 root 2. And then those two are not like terms, so you're done. So, again, very easy section. I expect you to do very well with this section. Last problem, story problem, and like I said, story problems in this section are not going to be too difficult because the math's not too difficult. You find an area of a rectangle here, so I'll draw out my rectangle. Here's my rectangle. It says the width is 4 root 6 minus 2 root 10. And it says the length is 5 root 3 plus 7 root 5. And we want to find the area, and we know area is length times width. So again, this is just going to be a FOIL problem. Length is 5 root 3 plus 7 root 5. I'm going to put that in parentheses. I'm going to multiply that by the width, which is 4 root 6 minus 2 root 10, and I'm going to FOIL. 5 root 3 times 4 root 6, 20 root 18. 5 root 3 times negative 2 root 10, negative 10 root 30. 7 root 5 times 4 root 6. 28 root 30. And 7 root 5 times negative 2 root 10 is negative 14 root 50. Right away I can see that these two terms in the middle can be combined, and I know that the square root of 30 does not simplify, again, since I've done so many of those square root of 30s, so I know this is simply going to turn into 18 root 30, but I know my other ones will simplify some. Again, we've already simplified the square root of 18 a couple times, 9 and 2, 3 and 3, so this turns into 3 root 2, but again, don't forget about this 20, so it's 20 times 3 root 2, so that gives me 60 root 2. Then I have this plus 18 root 30. And then over here with the square root of 50, we simplified this one once already too. 25 times 2. 25 is 5 times 5. So I'm going to get 5 root 2. Again, a negative 14 was sitting in the front. So negative 14 times 5 is negative 70. So I have negative 70 root 2. And then again, always look at the very end. Are there like terms? Is there any more simplifying? There's no more simplifying, but there are some like terms. 60 root 2 minus 70 root 2 gives me negative 10. And I'll just write my answer over here. Negative 10 root 2 plus 18 root 30. And since this is a story problem, we need labels, but they didn't tell us if the length and width was in inches or feet or yards or what, so I'm just going to say this is in units squared, because area is in units squared, and you should have a full sentence saying the area of the rectangle is negative 10 root 2 plus 18 root 30 units squared. So again, 11-2, extremely easy section. Add, subtract radicals together, multiply radicals together. Remember to always look to simplify radicals and always look to combine like terms, and you should be good with this second lesson. Alright, move on to the homework.